Arts Talk. I am Bill Roberts. It's our second panel show. We've got Cliff, we've got Terry, we've got Heidi, and Marissa's here. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about this because I know we've got an exciting subject to jump on in the panel. And Heidi just shaking over here.
I am vibrating like you guys. When we had kind of sort of discussed this. Like I'm gonna get like right into it.
She's pumped. Marissa's a little nervous.
I'm just watching. This is not my
I need a donut.
Terry's just hold it for 1 sec, Heidi. We forgot about the donuts.
I'm going to eat one.
Yeah, but if you remember on the last show for Arts Talk viewers, Terry had mentioned bringing donuts. So there was no donuts there, remember. So she made sure to have donuts here. Thank you so much, Terry, for the donuts.
Yes. Thank you. Did she say how she... Last time though, she said, I thought about bringing donuts.
Yes.
But you're all such a big bunch of jackasses that I decided against it.
That's what she said.
It was that.
So we seem to have redeemed ourselves.
And since we were talking about like artists or creators not giving their stuff away for free, I thought you guys might feel bad.
So what you're telling us is we're each paying like $10 a donut tonight.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, Heidi, sorry.
Yes,
I know you're so excited.
Okay, so books. Oh my gosh. It's like you guys. Okay, so for my
Look out.
You're too excited.
for my audition for this, I don't know if you remember this, Bill, or you, Cliff, because I interviewed you. You asked me what I did New Year's Eve.
Yes.
I read, and let me tell you, that was a good New Year's Eve. I love books that much.
How late did you read?
I read right through.
Right into New Year?
Were you just like midnight 02 and you're like, I'm done. Put down the book.
That would be
just keep going.
That would be good.
No,
Yeah.
it was too good of a book. I don't even remember what book it was, but it was a really
Well, then
good
it can't be that.
How was
good.
it?
Okay,
It was too good of a book, but I don't remember the
read
name.
so many books.
So do I, but come on.
I
Oh, come
can't
on.
keep track of them.
If it's a good book,
Yeah.
it imprints.
It imprints. That's
I'm
what
gonna
I
have
was
to
going
say,
to say.
I don't know if that was such a good book.
It was a good book.
Have you ever read a book?
How will we
and then
ever know?
start-
We don't
you
know
start-
what book it is.
You start explaining this movie to someone
To
down
someone,
the road,
exactly.
and then you realize it wasn't a movie at
It was
all.
a book.
It was
It
a
was a
book
dream?
you read,
Oh.
and it was so vivid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And the
So-
fact of the matter is, I read recently a really good article about fiction versus nonfiction. I have a friend of mine who reads nothing but nonfiction, and I'm trying to talk her into some more fiction, because fiction, speaking about movies and talking about movies, fiction literally lights up the imagination because you have to create every single thing about this person that you're reading about, and it's so vastly different than a movie.
You know, actually, Ready Player One I saw in theaters recently, and I read the book right beforehand. I actually picked the book up off the shelf at the bookstore without realizing that was being made into a movie. And so anyways, I read this book, I found out it's turning into a movie, I'm really stoked. And the freaking movie, well done, but it is not the book. Like, they changed, complete plot
That's what my
points.
son
But
said.
I would be honest, I find a lot of books to movies
No, yeah.
seem to go that route. So for me, if I know it's going to be made into a movie, you didn't, I usually will purposely hold off on the book. And this is not
There's
to
very
say
few
anything
movies
negative.
out there that
Live up to
Very
the
much
book.
to the
Because
book.
you've created your world, how you perceived it in your mind.
And often
right?
the better the book.
Right. That's right.
I can think of just one book that I read that I liked the movie more. Only one. And I've read like hundreds, maybe thousands of books. But it was The Fault in Our Stars. I really, really, really liked the movie. I sobbed and sobbed. But anyways, the book was still really good. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited.
I feel like Marissa, you jump in.
Yeah. Oh, I was just thinking I won't even go to movies like so for example like The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. I mean I know how to speak orc, so people were like so jazzed to go see the movies. I'm like, oh no, because I'm not explaining all of the big gaps and the story arcs and the random elf that isn't even in there. No, I'm not doing it. You go watch it and then I'll maybe watch it on my own, but there's no way I'm going to do that.
Nick, my husband, hates going to movies that are based on books because I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Like, he's like, shh, you're making a scene.
I'm with Terry though. I'd wait to read the book afterwards.
Always after.
I
Because the
always
book...
Or I won't go to the movie because I
Yeah,
can
or
do
I
without
won't
the
see a
movie.
movie.
That's the way...
I
The
can
movie
do
to me
that.
won't ruin the book because there's going to be so many different
so much
things
in
or
the
things
book
they had
that's
to
not in
cut
the
out.
film.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
going to feel like something almost totally
And I can
new.
do without the movie most of the time. Often I can't do without the book.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I did make the mistake recently with, I think it's called Big Little Lies. It's on HBO. I read the book, and it was a really quick read, and then I was really excited for the show, and it has very different story, like the characters. I'm like, and I got actually mad. I was like, no, give me my character back. So I learned my lesson. I'm not going to do it again.
That's fair.
I have to read the book.
How do you choose books?
How do I choose books?
This is where we're gonna have I think a bit of a spat. So I know before we talked.
You want to go?
And I'm just looking at Terri here. The look on her face was
Like-
like, okay.
I was like, I feel like that
Kneel
was
down.
a different conversation.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay. I was like, I feel like that was a not book-related conversation.
No.
Right? Yeah.
In the ring.
Not that discussion. Sorry, guys. Sorry, audience. But no
That's
reviews.
Jews.
Reviews. I know that I am in the minority in this group, but I really love reviews. Yes, the minority. I think, there's hundreds, maybe thousands of people who read a book. That many people like a book. Well, there's a reason they like that book. That book is good. And so I often, if a book has like 2 stars, I'm like, I'm not reading it. Whereas if a book has like 4 stars, I'm kind of a snob. Now I'm like, on Goodreads, I'm like, 4 stars, I'll read you. Under
But
4
see,
stars, I'll consider.
That's where reviews are so opinionated,
Absolutely.
right? Like I might read the same book and
Yeah.
say to you, that's only like a 1.5 star, but you think it's a 5 star.
Well, and I think
Yeah.
the reason I sort of disagreed on it so much too is when you're looking at the star ratings, that's just the stars. Like, I don't
Yes.
know, maybe someone has a grudge against this person and is going in there and clicking all these stars. So
That's true.
if I see a poor star rating and it sounds like it was a good story to me, I usually do one of 2 things. I scroll down and look for the comments. And then I start
Yes.
trying to see like, okay, well, what was the problem people had with
Right.
this book? So if I see like some people loved it and that's maybe more people that have similar interests to me, then I'm going to be like, okay, I still want to read this book.
That's fair.
Right?
And
fair.
and very quickly, there are readers of books that absorb books for the story. Then there are readers of books, perhaps people like me, who absorb the language. I love language. I love words. I love how people phrase things. And I'm always looking for something unique or something well put together.
So then how do you determine that?
Many of these things, many of the reviewers will say, oh yeah, it was a good book, but I skipped half of it because of the descriptions or something. Well, I happen to like description, right? So the way I decide often is, I like recommendations.
Okay.
People I respect, if they recommend a book to me, I'm almost ritualistic when I get the book. I don't read the cover, I don't read the flap, I don't read nothing. I go, no preface, no nothing. Because they think I'm gonna like it, I respect them, chances are likely I'm gonna like it. So I'll start chapter 1 and get right into it. And I want to see what they saw in it. Because obviously they know me, they tell me I like this. Well, there has to be a reason why they did that. Whereas strangers on a bulletin board, not to be terribly critical, but there are people out there, obviously not you, Heidi, but there are people out there that say, I love books, I could eat a whole one. That's different. I'm not interested in
That's
their
kind of well
readership.
done, actually.
I'm not interested in the reviews, right? Because the reviews are probably not going to be in line with what I think is good and what is not.
That's
What
fair.
about the recommendations like from other authors that they include? Nope, couldn't care less.
No, because most of the time it's partisan, right?
No.
I'm not interested in partisan opinions. I'm interested in honest opinions by those people who read it and been touched by the book. If something doesn't move me, I'm not interested in it. Move me emotionally, I'm not interested in it. Because you know what? I can read nonfiction for facts. When I read fiction, I read stories. It has to move me in such a way
Now, do you
that it
not
transforms
ever
me.
read out of curiosity? Because I know for myself sometimes there's book titles that I'm totally like, I would never in a million years read it, but then it becomes so hyped up that I'm like, I now need to uncover what the secret is, and I'll go and read it. And usually I still don't understand what it was, but
Right.
do you ever have that where it's more
Yes,
of a
titles. I've picked hit CDs based on the title and the image.
Okay.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes judging the book by its cover has really, really helped me discover
that.
some pretty amazing books
Yeah.
and pretty amazing music.
Yeah, I've done that.
I always read the last page before I decide to buy
Oh!
I remember you saying that.
the
Yeah.
book. Because if the last
Me too.
page, like if it just annoys me, there's no way I'm going to get through the rest of the
No.
book. So if it's a great ending, then
you wanna
I
see how
want
they
to hear
got
the
there.
beginning. You betcha.
Yeah, but doesn't that spoil the story for you?
Oh, heck no. Because you got to
Yeah.
figure out how it got there.
True. I can see how it doesn't ruin the whole book. I just feel like that just is not my ritual. That's all it is. It has nothing to
enough.
do
I
with
feel like
like
I
I
did-
can't respect it.
Yeah.
It's just not my
I
ritual.
feel like if I
It's
did
just-
that, I'd close the book, put it back
Yeah.
on the shelf.
Because you know what I do? I read the first page. And if
Fair.
I'm not interested by that first page, then I'm like, no.
And to be fair, I do read the first line usually.
Okay,
I'll
okay.
open it up, read the first line, go, I'm interested, go to the back page,
Chapter.
and then see
Yeah.
if it's
Okay.
One chapter,
All right.
first chapter, ritual, first chapter.
Just quickly before we have to wrap up, I'm kind of the opposite because if I see something that's reviewed at 1 or 2, I might get that and read it because I want to see why is it a 1 or 2.
Yeah,
Like
really?
maybe I'll like it, or
Yep.
maybe I'll hate it and I'll agree with
That's
whoever.
how I take my
But
Fringe plays.
and that's true. And I was just going to bring that up quickly in regarding to like a Fringe show and being involved in the Fringe. And I know you've been there as well, Cliff. And you see a lot of Fringe shows getting 1 and 2 stars.
Often
and you
they're
think,
great.
I might have been
and
there.
a lot of times, some of those shows are actually very good.
That's true.
And some of the shows that have gotten the 5-star rating, you go, how did they get 5 stars?
You're like,
Popularity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did they pay the
that is true. I won't-
Popularity doesn't necessarily translate to good literature.
That's the.
That's
I
right.
agree.
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my
That,
god!
well, and you know what's ironic?
How many
50 Shades
reviews?
is the one I was mentioning when I was saying, like, do you ever hear this hype around a book and then you read it?
That is like the
I
biggest
couldn't
piece
finish
of
it,
crap
but
I've
I
ever
was
had
like,
the
I
pleasure
still
of.
didn't- Yeah.
I had no desire to read it. Like I just
I had to see. I had to understand.
Again,
I-
first chapter. I was
Sorry
asked
for
to
all the
read it.
50 Shades lovers
First chapter.
out
That's
there.
my
Love that
commitment.
for the first
Please
My
tune
commitment
into
to
our
any
talk
author
again.
is the first chapter.
Yeah.
That's my commitment to any author.
You know, I know
The
we
first
have.
chapter.
I know we have to wrap this up, but
Yep.
one thing that I know in the past, I used to, if I started a book, even if I hated it, I had to get to the last page because I felt dedicated. Now I'm like, no, you know, this is valuable time, and then there's so many amazing books that I'd rather be reading.
Correct.
So I'll
Yeah.
set that one aside and find something that I enjoy.
Correct.
All right. Awesome, guys.
Anyone ever finish a book and then get sad because you won't see the
Yes,
characters?
yes.
I'm
Yes.
glad I'm not alone.
The
I
better
just
the
had to
book,
ask that.
the better
It's
the
a book
book.
hangover. A
Okay,
book
good,
hangover.
good, okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, we do have to move on. We've got a big show coming up. We've got 2 great guests coming up right after this. We'll have Todd Crawshaw from the Executive Director of the Rock and Roll Society of Edmonton. And we also have Katie Fournel, who's actually a filmmaker, but she's coming on the show to talk about her new book. So that's going to be exciting. So we got to get to that. We'll be right back after this. We're back. We want to welcome to the show Todd Crawshaw. How are you, Todd?
I'm very well. How are you?
I am awesome. So you are the Executive Director of the Rock and Roll Society of Edmonton. You are also the producer, the Administrator of the Center for Arts and Music program as well. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, gosh, we're entering into our 8th year of the Edmonton Rock Music Festival, and the entire reason for the festival existing is to raise money for the Center for Arts and Music, the CAM program, to hire mentors, musicians, to work with youth who are probably best described as at risk. So our people go into some targeted schools as well as a few closed custody environments. What we do is we teach the kids how to play instruments, write songs. They end up forming bands. And part of my job is to find them some credible performance opportunities. And the highlight of this for me is every summer at the festival itself, we get as many of our CAM students on the festival stage as possible. So last year,
Amazing.
they took the stage in between Sask, Jordan, and Chilliwack.
Wow.
And these are junior high school kids,
That's amazing.
and they're getting up on a stage, and they're rocking out not only cover songs, but their original tunes to literally 3,800
awesome.
really
Wow.
appreciative fans.
That's
In the middle
awesome.
of genuine bona fide stars.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's
except,
amazing.
the kids' riders, they don't ask for the same amount of alcohol.
No green M&Ms.
No, but they're pretty. Watching these kids walk off the stage, you can see the pride. They're bursting.
Yeah.
They're
Oh,
walking
yeah.
off like they're 10 feet tall, and that's what this is all about. Through our work, we hope that we can give these kids some opportunities to develop some healthy confidence, healthy self-esteem, know what it's like to be a part of a functioning community, responsible for the bands that they're in. And I think that these are traits that they take well into adulthood.
And it creates value within themselves that they're contributing something back to society. That's amazing.
Absolutely. And these kids really do rock out.
How long have you been doing
Well, I've been doing this now for 3 years. So I'm a relative newcomer. But interestingly enough, I used to work for this radio station called CKUA. In the first year that this festival came into play, there's an artist named Carson Cole, who I saw literally a billion years ago on the bar circuit in Edmonton. He was one of the originators, one of our founders. God love you, Carson. So he came to CKUA, told me about this new rock fest, and we were all over it like stink on a monkey. So I ended up going there as an advertising partner, then I went as a patron, and lo and behold, I kind of fell ass backwards. Can I say that word, backwards?
Sure.
Thank you. Into this particular job.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
That's
so
amazing.
what started this? You said 3 years it's been running. What was the inspiration behind this for the kids?
You know,
I'd love to know.
It started out, interestingly enough, we had Carson and a few other like-minded individuals had a friend who developed cancer, and they were looking for a way to raise funds. And they threw this hall party that, was very successful. And a lawyer who's now on our board still, and he's one of our founders, really driven, passionate fellow. He thought, if we can do this, hangar party for 600 people, why don't we grow? And then, around the same time, there were cuts to education and curriculum. And music and the arts are always the first.
Always the first thing.
It's a low-hanging fruit. And, not going to get off into that tangent. But they thought they have the opportunity and the infrastructure to raise some money. It may as well go to support the next generation of musicians in this community.
So you said part of your job is to find them credible, places to play.
Yep.
What kind of events do you want them to be at?
A couple of things. So, every spring and every autumn we find one of our different host schools. We put together a concert for all of our feature bands from the different schools and the close custody environments to come. We usually pull about 150 people.
Okay.
And then in the summer, we have a couple of really cool opportunities. I've got the kids lined up later on in June at a place in St. Albert. Axe Music, one of our supporters. They just got bought out by Loewen McQuaid, another one of our supporters. So it's really friendly all the way around. Rock and Rick Shermack wanted me to get involved in producing a show for them. So I'm right now in the midst of booking bands. Of course, the first one I book is our Cam Kids. So June 3rd in St. Albert's at the Bourbon Room, we're going to have the kids play on stage in front of a rock and roll crowd. We do something at Blackjack's Roadhouse in, pretty close to Leduc, Nisku area. And we have a lot of recreational riders come out and show nothing but support for our kids as well. And of course the festival itself, which is pissed to the response.
And just before we talk about Rockfest a little bit, just before we went on camera, you were telling us about the issue that you had, and I'm sure all of our viewers are aware of it, about the guitars that were taken. Tell us a little bit how that kind of flipped to a good side for you.
Jeepers H crackers. I was kidding that if I ever met this guy, I would probably do him some a little bit of physical justice. But that's my tough guy talking. What I would do is probably buy him a nice meal, maybe challenge some of the choices that he's made in life, maybe got him on a better path.
Got him in a band.
Get him in a band. He could have benefited from our program.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So he broke in to the warehouse in which we had some of these guitars displayed. And he was only 24, so he had no idea who Big Brother in the Holding Company was or Jefferson Starship. But he must have seen dollar signs. So when he smashed and grabbed these guitars, I immediately went to a lot of my media connections because I knew that the more people who knew about the story, the less likely it was to fence these guitars. He ended up, about 36 hours later, having to drive down to Calgary to get rid of these things. Well, the story went far and wide. I heard from Hawaii. I heard from Illinois, Halifax, Victoria. And that's why it was the boon for us, because it's every charitable administrator's dream to get the type of exposure that we did.
Yeah.
We got all the guitars back thanks to Sharky's Pawn Shop in Calgary. These guys are astute frontliners.
Go Sharkies.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously. They stalled the guy. Here's the funny part. We sell these guitars for $3,000 to $5,000 a piece to collectors, right? This kid was prepared to take $20 a guitar.
What?
Wow.
Right? And that wouldn't have even covered his gas money to and from Calgary.
Exactly.
Thieves are not the brightest knives in the vault.
What?
That makes my metaphor sense. But seriously, out of crisis comes opportunity.
Wow.
And this fellow inadvertently did something of good benefit to our organization.
That's
Well, that's
awesome.
great. I mean, you get kids, music, charity. I mean, let's face it, everybody can get on board with that, and it's great that they did.
And rock and or roll.
And rock and roll,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, tell us about Rockfest. You got a great lineup this year.
Why, thank you very much, Bill. It's our 8th year, and booking this is always, I'm put it to you this way, we haven't even gotten close to our festival this year, and I'm already looking towards 2019
Yep.
to see who's out there. So, we have a commitment to our local Edmonton and surrounding community bands. I am a Sherwood Park boy, by the way. Go Sabres. We've got local rocker 69th Ave opening up on Friday, August 17th, followed by Saga, some personal favorites of mine because these guys are musicians.
Yes,
They rarely
awesome.
play. This is one of the last they're not on tour. This is one of the last performances they're giving
That's
in
awesome.
their career. And then followed by Don Felder. And if you don't know that name, you would know his lick
Sure
from
do.
Hotel California.
Hotel California.
An original Eagle who's responsible for most of their iconic songs. So he's doing nothing but Eagle songs Friday night.
Isn't
Pleased about that.
fantastic?
Saturday we have local rockers Rockzilla. They're out of Caffrey's in Troy Park, I think,
Yep.
every couple of weeks. They rock and rock hard.
Mm-hmm.
Fellow you might know, his name is Gord Steinke, who's bringing the
Yep.
Big Stein Band. Gord and I go back to when I worked at the museum, and he was a museum buff, so it's nice when I put my old careers and mesh them with my new career.
Yeah.
He rocks like 7 shades of rock.
He's crazy.
Amazing.
We get into some of our name acts with radio airplay behind them. So it's Hollywoods in Toronto, followed by Helix, which is a nod to the Bangers.
Wow.
If you look back
That
to
goes back to my.
you look back to what was considered heavy metal in the 80s, it's
Yeah.
not that bad.
Not-
It's not that hard.
It's good.
But Brian Ballmer's still there. Honeymoon Suite, you're a local favorite.
Nice.
And I can never tire of these guys. Glass Tiger, Alan Frew.
Love Glass Tiger.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the reaction that I'm seeing from a lot of people.
Alan Frew's amazing.
Alan
It's an
Frew
exciting
is-
lineup.
Yeah, I'm like
awesome.
Helix, Glass Tiger. It's
Yeah,
pretty much
like-
like my youth. This is amazing.
It is, and then we're closing off the entire festival with 5 Tex-Mex rockers from Los Angeles. They've been around since the mid to late 80s, Los Lobos.
Oh.
And
Oh,
these guys,
Los Lobos.
they're generating more buzz than I could have hoped for.
Yeah.
I did see them
So
5
good.
years ago close the Folk Fest stage in front of 22,000 people.
Absolutely.
If they're going to play blues, they're going to play rock and roll. These guys are
Los
musicians of an extraordinary caliber. So, and well beyond, La Bamba. You might know that song, but there's a whole lot more
Absolutely.
depth. Go online and find them.
Wow, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Well, Todd.
And you said we get to go, right?
Well, we're
Yeah, I
talking
think
with
so.
Todd about
I
coming
think
out
we
there
can work
Right?
something out.
to maybe shoot a show there.
Yeah,
So
that would be good.
I
That'd
think
be
I
good.
think that'd be good. So
I'm
Todd and I will
pretty sure we
discuss
can do
that
that.
and put
That'd be awesome.
something together.
Yeah.
How do people get tickets?
Well, a couple of different ways. You can go to our website at rocks.ca, and we also have 2 long-term partners who can sell the hard copy tickets. I'm a hard copy ticket guy. I keep all my ticket stubs, right? So there's Acoustic Music Shop on White Ave, and there's Myers Music
Myers
on 100.
Oh, great.
But if you can't make it or if you're out of town, it's at rocks.ca. You'll find all your ticket information there.
Wow,
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Thanks so much for being
It's
on the show,
fantastic.
Todd.
Thanks
We're
for
excited.
having me.
Great
Yeah.
lineup.
Awesome work.
Exciting, yeah.
Thank you.
You bet. We'll be right back after this.
Thank you. And thank you. And thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Stretch!
One more time.
Improvaganza is Edmonton's international improv and sketch comedy festival. The best improvisers in the world, Rapid Fire Theatre, hosts other top-ranked improv teams from across the globe. Improvaganza is a 10-day festival that celebrates improv, comedy, music, and more. It takes place at the Citadel Theatre on June 13th to 23rd. If you need more information or would be interested in tickets, call 1-888-425-1820. Think you have what it takes to make a movie in 48 hours? Then head on over to the Okotoks Film website, okotokesfilmfestival.com. The competition takes place May 18th to the 20th. Teams are given a genre, prop, and line of dialogue to write, shoot, and edit their films. Registration is limited to 20 teams, so sign up soon. The entry fee is $30.
Join On the Spot pop ups at the Spring Etsy Made in Canada show, May 19th and 20th at the Aviation Museum, 11410 Kingsway Avenue. Join 125 makers, artists, designers, and food trucks. The admission is $5 cash at the door, with a portion of door sales benefiting the Nina Haggerty Center for the Arts. Find out more information at onthespotpopups.com or thenina.ca.
May 27th, mark the day. I have something very special for musicians and those who like music. Lily Lake Village Resort, which is near Bonnecourt, Alberta, not far, about an hour and a half out of Edmonton's south side, about an hour from Edmonton north side. Look it up, you can Google it, Lily Lake Village Resort. On the 27th, they have a jam session, which is a Sunday, by the way. It's a jam session. If you're a musician, go out, jam, bring your guitar, bring anything you want, go there, have some fun, bring your music to the stage. If you are an appreciator of music, go there, have some great food, some great drinks, hopefully, and some great company and some great community fun. And you know what? You just might enjoy yourself to a wonderful degree. I'll be there. Might not be jamming, but I'll definitely be listening. See you then.
For those of you who've been watching Arts Talk, you know that Cliff and I are involved in a show called Nightmare, upcoming at this year's Edmonton Fringe Festival, August 16th to the 26th. And it's a fully original show built from the ground up with dance, music, multimedia, lights, special effects. It's going to be exciting, so you want to make sure you attend Nightmare at the Fringe. So make sure you stay tuned with Nightmare. Follow us on Facebook. Come out to the Edmonton Fringe 2018, August 16th to the 26th. We'll be at the Sugar Swing Ballroom, which is on 119th 80th Ave. We'll see you at the Fringe Festival.
Welcome back, Arts Talk viewers. Today we have a very special person, and it actually works really well with our panel discussion because her name's Katie Fournel, and she is an author of a children's book. Welcome, Katie.
Thanks for having me.
Katie.
Tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book is called Lydia's Monster Under the Bed, and it is about a little girl who knows that there is something under her bed and all the stigma that goes along with having a monster under your bed. But inevitably the book is about not judging a book by its cover. So the moral of the story is to get to know someone before you make judgments on what they're like.
I like that.
Including the monster.
Including a monster,
Nice.
even a monster.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that you say not judge a book by its cover, because I've seen the cover and I love it. Like, it is so good, and it's with
Thanks.
claymation, right?
Yeah, so I wrote the book. I'm actually a filmmaker by trade and also a event programmer, and I was like, I'm gonna write a book, 'cause, you know. And so I went and grabbed another filmmaker because that's who I know. And I have a friend, her name's Shauna Koski, and she is a stop motion animator. And she is doing all the animation for the book, and this is Lydia.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh, she's so cute.
Yeah, well, everybody can take a look at her.
And
if you
so
like.
Lydia is your niece.
Lydia
right?
is my niece,
And
yes.
so it's somewhat fashioned after her.
Yes, it looks like what we expect her to look like.
If she was made of clay.
If she was made of clay. And
Okay, right.
She is
Right.
not even 2 yet, so
Wow.
Love it.
this
That's
is
beautiful.
a prediction for her future, and I hope she has the same fashion sense as this doll does.
Absolutely.
Fun fact for you guys, I had interviewed, I think it was the show where we found out that we were all winners, and Selena was who I interviewed, and Lydia is her daughter.
Yes.
So
Oh,
that's who
that's
it's
yes.
about.
Excellent.
Okay.
Mhm.
So is
Yeah.
that how you came up with this whole idea?
I came up with the name, well, Lydia, pretty obviously how I came up with that. But I came up with the name Lydia and started thinking about what that name means to me, and then how that can translate into a story. And for me, I honestly, when my brother told me what he was naming his daughter, I went, oh, like Beetlejuice.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
And so we thought monsters are probably the best way to go with the story. And Sean and I sat down and talked about what would be fun to create, and therefore came up with Lydia's Monster Under the Bed. And that is just the start. We kind of went a little nuts with every child we know's name.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And so, I know she's not here, but how does Shauna make these?
A bunch of different things are used to make it. She uses claymation is what she uses for the actual faces. And then they're a wire frame, so they are posable. You can move them around a little bit.
Her shirt's made of like tissue paper.
And her shirt is made of tissue paper.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
she's got kind of a whatever's lying around attitude. So she starts to sort of think, oh, what can this go with? Oh, what can this go with? I believe that the background in the cover is actually a placemat that she just slid
Oh,
in.
seriously?
Because she's like, I have a placemat, I need to cut the wallpaper, and she just put the placemat down and had the wallpaper.
Very creative.
What was it like to see your book, books are so 2D, and then now you've got it as 3D. Like, what's that like?
I was really excited to bring Shauna on for that reason, because I've always loved the idea of the book being like more than just the one picture, and it to go back and you can see the three-dimensional, and all the characters have all the sides.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting for Shauna, I know, because now she's got to work with them like they're actors. It's like, oh, he's got to go this way, and like, but seeing it come to life the way that it has, I knew I could trust Shauna. I brought her on actually before I even finished writing, and it's been amazing. Like she's wonderful. She always is. So.
Mm-hmm. And so you had mentioned that you're also a filmmaker,
Yes.
and I understand you're also a director. And so have you found, like, are you going to be directing, I don't know if that would be the right word, but how the pages are going to be looking?
Actually, the way Shauna wants to do it is she's like, go away, come back when I'm done. And I'm like, all right, cool. So
Yeah.
Book keeps their own creative spirit, right?
It is,
and
yeah,
The
and
more,
it
and the more
keeps-
of those you bring to your work.
exactly,
Yeah.
it keeps the writing and the illustrations so much a part of what they are. The thing we always talk about is how Robert Munsch has a look. Like when you see
yes.
Robert Munsch books, you know exactly what it looks like. But Robert Munsch is not the illustrator
That's right.
of Robert
That's
Munsch books. And so we're going for more of a, Shauna and Katie are 100% the team the whole way through. And Shauna has just as much creative control
Absolutely.
as I do. I actually kind of just got given the doll of Lydia. She's like, this is Lydia. And I was like, oh, cool. Looks like her. Good work.
That is awesome.
So the story is 100% my creation, and then she has to work within
Yeah.
the limitations of the script.
Is it interesting to sort of see how she's perceived what you've written, but with her images on it? Because I know sometimes when I read a book and then I go see a film, it's completely different than how I had pictured it in my mind. So has it been?
Oh yeah, definitely. There is an image that will be in the book where she's in a swimming pool. And I'm like, I didn't write a swimming pool.
Oh,
Like, Shauna just
really?
wanted a
That's
swimming
really
pool.
neat,
And I'm
yeah.
like, well, that's adorable. And there's also a bit about her having this box that she turns into a spaceship and stuff. And I'm like, well, these are all like ideas that if I was in control of it, would never have been in the book. So I'm really glad that with the illustration, I can
How
have.
many versions of her in the book?
I don't know how many.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Because obviously this one's not going to be in a pool.
Yeah, I think I
Just
think
tissue.
that the head of the thing. Don't try it, but I'm pretty sure that the head comes off and she'll move the head from
wow.
body to
Oh,
body. So
that
she'll make a
totally
few
makes
different
sense.
bodies, but her face will always look the same.
Very cool.
So, Katie, just before we wrap up,
Yeah.
we're running short of time. How do people get more information about you, about the book?
Find me on Facebook is the easiest way right now, or email me at katie@ktevents.ca. That's basically the best way yet. The book is still, since it's in such a preliminary area, we don't even have our website or anything done for the book yet. But we will be creating that very soon as the book is set to come out in fall.
Is there a time frame?
Fall. Yeah, September.
Like actual, but for work, for actual publication.
For actual publication
Nice.
in September. So we want to finish all the work this summer and then go to print in September.
Excellent.
Lovely.
Okay, thanks so much for being on Arts Talk. This
Thank you
sounds
so much.
fantastic. I can't wait to see the book.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
I'll have to send you guys a copy.
That would be awesome.
My
Thanks so
girls will
much.
love it. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back after this. We are back. What a fantastic show. The donuts are a hit, Terri.
I'm happy to, I know.
We're all ready to eat.
Retention.
I would eat right now, but I have to talk
That's
first,
fair.
and
That's
then I
fair.
will get into
And this is cotton candy?
It is,
I got the cotton candy
Why
one.
did he
What?
make you take that one?
We're
Do you
not
like
sure.
cotton
I'm
candy?
sure.
'Cause
He
you
said
can-
something
you can-
about something
Because I've been
about
taking care of all of Cliff's things since
Stuff.
he got here. His stuff, his
So
his
you
glasses,
said he's
his
only
phone.
allowed that
So I
one.
said he's only allowed that one.
I think we're going to be a little quiet for a while.
Okay.
So you guys
Yeah,
can-
we're over here having the lemon meringue.
So what is this one?
That one is a dark chocolate ganache with a
Dark
dolce
chocolate, my favorite.
drizzle. Wow.
Cotton candy, and what is?
S'mores and then a lemon meringue.
s'mores.
Lemon.
Are you serious?
It's like, I was like, that's
love making
marshmallow.
marshmallows.
Wait a minute. She's not
So-
going to make it to this.
but
She's going
hang
to be
on.
asleep here in a second.
Hold on just for a second. I have one question. Why is it we're all eating the donuts and the person who made them's not eating them?
Because I don't know if anyone
Suspicious.
here.
That's really
No, I was
suspicious.
gonna say I don't know if anyone here does baking or cooking or things like that. But sometimes I find when I've been doing it all day, I feel like I've eaten them.
I think she wants us all to be asleep so that she
And
can
that's-
close this show out.
No,
That's why I don't bake.
No.
no, I wouldn't do that.
Very tasty.
Thanks.
So, we had an awesome show. We had Todd Crawshaw, Executive Director of Rock and Roll Society. We had Katie Fournel talking about her brand new book, which is exciting with the whole claymation thing. That'll be really cool. Get to learn about Lydia. And we had a great panel discussion at the beginning.
We did.
Look at every time I bring that up, Heidi just She lights up just like that.
She's
She
still
would,
really
she
salty
would
about
start
it.
it all over.
You're gonna make us all keep talking
Yeah,
after
but
we're
we
done,
can
right?
keep going.
Yeah.
She's gonna send us reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to be getting reviews all the time now. She's going to want her own segment. Just a review
Review.
segment.
Books.
I think that should be the Heidi
Reviews.
tagline from now on. I like this book. I could eat it.
And one more thing, I think unfortunately, either I need a T-shirt now, or you're gonna have to wear yours again.
Okay, it was off
Next
camera,
week.
so you don't really need to bring
Oh,
that
I'm
one
sorry.
up,
I'm
Terry.
Oh.
sorry. I didn't.
Okay,
know.
then let me just remind you people. Once again, Bill
It was
called
off
Terri
camera, audience.
Heidi. It was on purpose.
Audience.
I did
By
not-
the way,
it was deliberate.
viewers, if you want to be a guest on the show, please email. Now I can't even say email because I'm eating my donut.
Please email
Email us
artstalk.
artstalkedmonton@gmail.com, and we'll definitely look at getting you on the show for sure. Or if you've got a segment that you want us to cover, send us an email as well, and we'll get that off to our street reporters. We've got,
And one last thing, for those of our friends who are on Facebook, number one, you better
Yes.
be liking the Arts Talk page. And number two, if
Cliff
you're
will knock at your door.
if you're on any of our friends list, I mean, you can tell us about events coming up. You can
for sure.
you can
We'll
communicate
promote
with
it.
us that way, and we'll promote it as well. So
Sounds good. We want to get to 1,000 likes. We're over 600 now. I can't remember what the exact number is,
Yeah.
but we want to get up there. Or Cliff will knock at your door.
I'm
And we
coming.
can tell who doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awkward. It's awkward.
awkward.
Yeah, super awkward.
And don't worry, maybe that list will be on the credits at the end.
We're looking at you,
Yes.
Joan.
Jim, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim and John.
Christina. Jennifer. Shannon.
It's like I can see John.
Oh, it's romper room.
It's a
Yes,
romper room, yeah.
room. Yeah.
And if you like the page,
Maybe
Terri-
I'll make a donut.
I was just gonna say Terry might make you donuts.
Donut.
We'll eat them.
One donut per like.
Wait a minute,
There you
we'll
go.
eat them, but you'll make them
Now watch,
for
we
you.
get 500 new likes just like that. You've got 500 donuts to make.
Maybe
Well,
that
I
should be our
guess
new
you guys are going to be
sponsorship.
busy helping me.
Terry, maybe that should be our new sponsorship package, is that
Yes.
you'll like make them a custom donut if they
Sure.
donate, say,
That's a great
$1,000 or
idea.
$2,000 to the
Happily.
show.
Or some
Awesome
other,
idea.
some other kind of baked good if they're into
Yeah,
that. I
or
can do,
absolutely.
yeah.
Starting at 5,000.
What's coming up in June?
That's why Marissa is here too, because she's got great ideas for sponsorship. So we will be looking for sponsorship in the near future. So we'll be working on packages for you as well. What's coming up in June? Good question,
June,
Cliff.
June.
So in June we're going to be talking about men and women in the arts and some of the differences and some of the issues that have come up, and I think it'll be a good discussion to have.
That was the conversation.
Yes.
That was a conversation that was not held on camera between a couple of people sitting at
It
this
was
table,
heated.
to whom I'm sitting in between now.
No, I'm so sorry I missed that.
To keep things calm. All right, so again, email us at artstalkedmonton@gmail.com if you want to be on the show. It's been a blast. We're having fun with the panel. Hope you're enjoying it. If you've got comments about the show, ideas, thoughts you want to send, if you really like it, send us a comment and say that you really like it. If you don't like it, tell us why. We'll hear that too.
Tell us what books to read. Tell us what books
Oh,
you
yeah.
like.
I'll tell you what books to read.
But no, she's just looking at the star count, so I know it's like.
What
Yeah.
films you like, what movies you like, what music you like.
If it's got 5 stars, Heidi will bring it 2. If it's 2, she said no, out.
That's right.
All right, thanks viewers. Thanks again. We'll see you next time on Arts
See you.
Talk.
See you next time.
Uh,
Thanks for the donuts.
No problem.
I think I had marshmallow on my face. Let me try.